Deep within the mines of Africa, the moment a speck-sized diamond was slipped into a miner's mouth, gunfire shattered the thick, sweltering air. Solomon watched as his fellow worker collapsed into a pool of blood. The sudden silence that followed was more suffocating than the constant roar of the mine itself, and not long after, Solomon's fingers brushed away the dirt, revealing a glimmering pink stone. It was a flawless pink diamond, easily 100 carats, refracting a faint glow of destiny in the dim light. He quickly scanned his surroundings and clenched the gem tightly in his palm. Just then, the pump by the river burst with a deafening blast, drawing everyone's attention. Taking advantage of the chaos, he bent down slowly, slipped the diamond between his toes, and casually walked away as if nothing had happened. Once he was out of the overseer's sight, he pretended to need the toilet. In the cover of privacy, he wrapped the priceless gem in a scrap of cloth and buried it in the muddy earth. Before he could get far, he felt a gun press into his back. The overseer had been watching him all along. Solomon braced for the worst, but at that very moment, a grenade exploded. Government forces stormed the site, throwing everything into disarray. The blast knocked the overseer unconscious. Solomon took the chance to crawl back to the hiding spot, reburied the diamond, and was just getting to his feet when the soldiers caught him. No matter how hard he pleaded that he wasn't a rebel, they took him as a prisoner anyway. In prison, the awakened overseer immediately recognized him and began shouting demands for the diamond. He even offered a $1,000 reward to anyone who could find it. Furious, Solomon tore open his shirt and shouted that it was the rebels who had destroyed their lives. His cellmates slowly backed down, their hostility fading. From across the cell block, a white man was watching him closely. Archer had already caught the scent of something valuable in all the noise. Soon after, Archer bailed Solomon out. The greed in the man's eyes was barely concealed, but Solomon had no choice. In a continent ravaged by war, that diamond was his only bargaining chip, the only hope he had of surviving the refugee camps and reuniting with his lost family. They ran through rainstorms of bullets. Rebel gunmen fired into crowds of civilians, while government shells rained down indiscriminately. Solomon watched people fall one after another, but the fire in his heart to find his son only burned hotter. With help from Maddie, a journalist, they reached a refugee camp in Guinea. The embrace of his wife and daughters still carried warmth, but the news that his son Dia had been taken by rebels hit him like a flood of ice water. Following Archer back into the war zone, Solomon found a brief moment of rest at a school sheltering war orphans, but his resolve to save his son only grew stronger. When he finally returned to the spot where he had hidden the diamond, he saw Diameter. The boy had already been turned into a child soldier, and he screamed at Solomon with raw, burning hatred. As fire tore through the sky, Solomon wrestled the overseer in the mud and ended his life to protect his son. Archer, bleeding from a gunshot wound, shielded Dia behind him. In his final moments, Archer pressed the pink diamond back into Solomon's hand as Solomon lifted his son onto his back, clenched the diamond tightly, and began walking, step by step, out of the burning jungle. Eventually, at a hearing in London, Solomon stood beside his wife, daughters, and a slowly recovering Diameter. With the diamond in hand, he exposed the brutal truth behind the blood diamond trade. As more than 40 nations signed an agreement to stop the flow of conflict diamonds, Solomon had already come to understand one thing clearly: some kinds of light should never come at the cost of family or life itself.